Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bunny Cakes and welcome to my channel for the first time if you're new here. So today I'm going to do a bit of a bookish story time. I mentioned this in my video yesterday and a couple people mentioned they'd like to hear the story, and well, I couldn't think of anything to film today. I didn't really feel like doing another book tag, so I figure I'll do this story time about the time that I kind of a little bit got kidnapped by books. So let me set the scene a little bit and age myself. This happened in like, I'm going to say 1992 or 1993. I was in second grade, so like seven or maybe first grade. First grade. So I was like 7 or 8 years old. I didn't start school until I was six, so I was always like a year older than most of the kids I went to school with. Um, so I was in this. I think of it as a little town. I actually think it's probably bigger than I'm remembering it because we lived in a little suburb. But it was this little town in Ohio called Zanesville. And it was this really small little school district we were in, and we lived really close to the school. And so typically at the end, I would walk to school in the morning and walk home from school in the evening. My mom would take me because, of course, I was little. Um, at least most of the time. And so when I was in school, they did this thing called Scholastic Book Fairs, and I think they still do it. But the schools I went to don't do it the same way the schools that the school district I live in now does it. Um, so when we had our Scholastic Book Fairs, basically what would happen is the teacher would pass out these little magazine like booklets, kind of like kids version of Avon, and there would be books and science experiments and stuff that you could buy. And I remember up until that point we had never really had the money to buy anything. um and I had been through several different schools at that point because we moved around a lot back then. And I remember it was the first time I was able to buy something. And oddly, the only thing I can remember buying, and I know I got several books, was a Thomas the Tank Engine book. No, the little engine that could. That's what it was. Um, it was this little engine that could book. And so you would have to wait weeks and weeks, and the school would order the books, and the books would come to the school, and then you would pay for them and you bring them home. Well, I mentioned this is the 90s, so security wasn't nearly as tight, especially in this little small town. It was definitely not like, when I say suburbs, it was more like um somewhere between like the ritzy neighborhood and gang neighborhoods. So it was like a middle ground. Like there were drugs and bad people and stuff there, but it was, for my time back then, just regular, right? And people didn't super they weren't super into locking their doors, and the schools weren't as locked down as they are now. So you didn't have to have a parent come in and pick you up. If you were one of the kids that walked home from school, they were like, bye, go home, carry on, yeah, get out. You don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here. Um, so I remember I was super duper excited, and I had my books in my little backpack, and I ran home and went into my bedroom and started reading my books. Well, I'm reading and reading and reading, and I remember sitting there reading The Little Engine That Could, and everything was fine until I got hungry. And that's when I realized that this whole time I have been in my bedroom quietly reading books. There has been a big, huge drama going on with my family. I don't know why I didn't hear anything or anything like that. My room was kind of down in, I think it was a finished basement is where my room was, because I remember it was downstairs, and maybe that's why I didn't hear anything. But I was used to like a lot of days I would just come straight home and go to my room and read, and then my mom would cook dinner and I would come out and eat, and that was fine. So that's what I was doing. Well, when I came out of my room to see what was for dinner because I was hungry, um, my mom loses her absolute mind on me. She starts screaming and grabs me, and she's asking me where I've been and what happened to me and what on earth is going on. And I was like, I don't know. I went to school, I came home, I read books, and now I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Uh, and so I don't know if maybe I don't know why my mom didn't know I was there. Either it was a glitch in the matrix and I didn't exist for a couple of hours, or something. Maybe my mom looked in and I was under the blankets and she didn't realize I was there. But apparently what had happened was she was supposed to pick me up from school that day. And so we somehow missed each other when I was walking home. Granted, I was walking home in a horde of kids because there were all kinds of kids my age that lived in our neighborhood. Um and at that time, I didn't particularly stand out. I was a little thin, wispy, short kid with like light brown hair, and I kind of pretty much looked like every other kid. I mean, just like now. Um, and so she went to the school to get me and we missed each other, and she started losing her mind because the school had no idea where I was, and she had no idea where I was, and she had been looking for me for a couple of hours, and she had gotten my stepdad looking and my older stepsister looking and all of that. And at this time they also had my little brother and sister who were my little brother was he wasn't even walking yet, and my sister would have been like 3 or 4 at the time, so they're both really little. And so they're trying to keep track of these two kids, and they're trying to find me, and I think they were just a few minutes shy of calling the police because they thought I had been kidnapped. So um I remember I remember getting yelled at, and I don't think I got a spanking or anything, but I kind of got a little bit in trouble for walking home on my own without telling anybody. Um but yeah, so technically I was kidnapped by books. Uh s- Primarily The Little Engine That Could. I totally got kidnapped by The Little Engine That Could when I was like 7 or 8 years old. Um And yeah, it's one of my funny bookish stories that I've had over the years. And yeah, it's just one of those interesting things. A lot of people can't say they got kidnapped by a whole book, but yep, I fell into Thomas the Tank Engine and a couple of other little kids' books for a couple of hours, and there was a tiny little manhunt woman hunt for me in Zanesville, Ohio when I was little. Um but yeah, have you guys had anything strange like that happen with books? Did you get kidnapped by a book or go missing? Or do you have any other funny stories about books that you'd like to share? Please let me know. Share your story down in the comments below. Tell me what you think about this one. And I am going to title this that I got kidnapped by a book, and hopefully that doesn't feel too clickbaity for you guys. But if it is, let me know how you feel about that too, and I'll try to watch out for clickbaity titles moving forward. Um, so thank you for watching this little story time with me, and I do hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.